Your views on if people are taking HIV seriously.
Secrets 3 is coming to your TV soon. And what are the challenges facing HIV positive young people?
From across the Caribbean.
This is Live Up the Show.
Hi there, it's another year and another season of Live Up the Show. But we've had a few changes, including 2 new hosts. Thank you very much to Mitzi and Garfield for the wonderful job they did. They set the bar very high. But Don't You Fair will still be coming all across the region to your countries, highlighting local heroes and stories. And I am super excited about sharing this journey with you every month.
Hi Alex.
Hi Reagan.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Well, over the past 5 seasons, Live Up has given us insights into issues related to HIV and issues in our community that leave us vulnerable to the infection. When we hear our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean speak out, we realize that information and removing stigma are key if we are to achieve an AIDS-free generation.
Yes, and we're living in the information age with your tablets and your mobiles and your Google, Facebook, Twitter. There's so many websites with information that can help you stay HIV-free. Still too many cases reported. UNAIDS reports 13,000 new cases in the region in 2011. It's disturbing, especially after 30 years about knowing about the epidemic. So we're going to start off with clearing up some myths that are simply not true.
Definitely. Like if you're healthy looking and you're well dressed, that you're safe.
Right, or I wear condoms with all my other girls.
She said I was the first.
Really?
I mean, that one.
Honestly, when you're deciding to have sex with someone, you're entrusting them with your life. Do you think people look at it that way?
Yeah, well, I do. What we've been asking on Facebook and on the streets, if you think people are taking HIV seriously, and what do you think the real message of HIV should be? Here are a few of your responses.
Just say AIDS will kill you. You know, young people fear that a lot. That is one thing. So if you put it out there that it can really mess up your life, then yeah, then we'll get the message straight up.
Unprotected, you die. Protected, live forever. Abstinence is the key.
Because them now use condom. Everybody want baby and now use condom and now take a checkup regular.
The message is real. That it's you. If it's you want to preserve life, just be safe. Do it the right way.
I think the message is sound. It is probably application, because if it doesn't reach, the message might be sound, but if it doesn't reach the group or the individual, it won't have any effect.
An anti-discriminatory angle, because I think that people are still treating it like, I don't know how leprosy was treated many years ago, not realizing that people with HIV can lead normal lives, can be normal. You don't, as a matter of fact, looking at a person, you can say that, oh, this person has HIV.
We've got some more responses for you later, but it's so cool now to be able to tap so easily into what people are thinking and feeling. The connectivity is amazing.
Well, we are connected. I mean, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Everybody knows everything in a second. So, you know, if you're watching your favorite TV program and something happens and you tweet about it or you post a status about it, people know in seconds.
Well, life imitates art and art imitates life. So a good television series gives you a glimpse into what people are really feeling. Here, the cast of the Barbados soap Secrets. Now in their 3rd season, there's just some dirt on their characters.
How about we do something together on the weekend? Just the 2 of us. What do you think? And you get to choose.
Oliver! Get lost! Why can't you just leave me alone? I hate you!
What'd you do that for?
She always has to be in everything, and she seriously bugs me, and I don't want to talk to her.
The character I played, Gina, is a very strong woman, businesswoman, very hardcore, I would have to say, but she loves her family. I think she was and is still aware of HIV/AIDS, but the fact that it came home to her never went into her mind at all. She never had that on her plan at all. And having to deal with it, and the fact that she is pretty much still in love with her boyfriend, and trying to deal with her family and her kids finding out, was a very big deal for her.
Richard doesn't give up on his family. Things are difficult, but he doesn't say, well, this is too much for me. I really can't deal with this. I'm out of here, and abandon ship. You know, he perseveres. I feel like I'm doing something useful. I am doing something I enjoy, but it is not just for selfish motives. It is doing something good for the society at large.
Here we are,
doing our third Secrets 5-part series. And I'm hoping that throughout the Caribbean that everybody will get a chance to, be inspired, and hopefully it will touch your lives and you'll do all the necessary things that are, get tested, perhaps not discriminate against persons who are living with HIV and AIDS.
My role in Secret is playing Jenny Henderson, short for Jennifer, and she is 16, and she's a nice girl, but she has her rebelling stage. She is living with a mother who she kind of thinks doesn't understand her, and the father that she actually can relate to. She loves her brothers, but sometimes her brother Oliver gives her a little trouble.
The little boy playing Max he's sick, and my mother has to take care of me on the stage, and I have a brother named Oliver and a sister named Jenny. Oliver doesn't really like me because he's jealous that I'm sick, but he doesn't know it yet. And Jenny, she likes playing with me. My stage dad, he is very funny.
There's a lot of things about HIV people don't really take seriously, and to see someone young like me actually participating in this, it could encourage other young children to do the same and respect people that have HIV and not neglect them.
Johan Blake. I'm not perfect, but I just try to do what's right to respect myself. I'm Johan Blake, the Beast, encouraging you to live up, love, protect, and respect yourself.
Live up, shout, live up.
Turning to technology now, I'm going to have a chat with Glenn Simon from the beautiful island of St Lucia. He's done a report on the lesbian, gay, bisexual and transsexual community and whether or not they've experienced stigma and discrimination from the church. Hi Glenn, tell us what prompted you first to choose this subject.
Okay, the reason why I chose this topic is because I think that our society, particularly in St. Lucia, is very much a Christian society. And lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual community is actually a group that doesn't raise its head as much. You know the person's around, but they don't really come out as such unless, though these days they are coming out. But they have a particular issue that they believe that religion is causing a lot of stigma and discrimination, and is fueling that stigma and discrimination.
How do you think the Caribbean Broadcast Media Partnership workshop you did in Washington at the International AIDS Conference last year, how has that affected you? How has that changed your view or how you view the job your country is doing to fight this epidemic?
The 19th International AIDS Conference was a major eye-opener for me. When I came back, I spread the message to all my media colleagues, my friends, my family, about what I saw. And it was a cultural shock for me personally, because St. Lucia, you're more guarded. You don't see men hugging each other in that way. You do not see homosexuals openly expressive to each other. You do not see the paraphernalia of even homosexuality. If there are even books on homosexuality, I really did not expose myself or even open my mind to it.
So we're asking young people around the region about whether they think the message about HIV is getting through in their country, in their community. We want an AIDS-free generation. What is the vibe in St. Lucia, please?
I think the younger population, they are clearly hearing the message. They understand the risk. They know the risk because they're a more intelligent population than the generation of my parents. They understand what it is. They know that AIDS is real. They know what causes AIDS. They know everything you need to know about AIDS. They actually do it for SBAs. They do it for school projects. But I'm not sure if they're actually realizing that this is real. It can happen to you. It can happen to them as well.
Well, thanks. Good to talk to you, Glenn. Here's Glenn's report.
Stigma and discrimination are viewed as the main agents fueling the HIV/AIDS epidemic worldwide. The LGBT community cite religion as the main agent fueling this stigma and discrimination by demonizing the lifestyle of persons within these communities. The religious community accepts the tenets of love and respect for everyone, regardless of their sexuality, but holds fast to the biblical view to love the sinner, but not the sin.
When the church does not accept a particular lifestyle, that is because the mandate given to the church requires that the church does not accept that lifestyle.
We look at how many persons have been able to use the Bible to in fact discriminate against persons as they believe that this is the foundation on which countries or communities, families, societies are built.
This causes people, especially those young black gay men or those young black men who feel they have a same-sex desire, that causes them to realize that they cannot be authentically who they are. And so whether it's in the Caribbean or in the United States or in Africa, they sneak around, they are forced to get married, and so they live lives in suffering in silence.
The church does not have any other responsibility except to preach, teach, exhort, encourage, win, support individuals into the embrace of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Religion should not be the in and the know-it-all of how things are done. And what has happened based on my experience is that religion has been the forefront and religion speaks for everything. It shouldn't be. I should be able to, other social and cultural norms. The reality is that things and times have evolved and religion should also evolve with things and times.
Homosexuality, sex workers, those lifestyles existed and they have been for generations. Yet the Word of God has always maintained those lifestyles are wrong and not in support of godly values.
So if we're going to throw the Bible at the LGBT community, we should also look at our lives and see what we're doing. And at the end of the day, nobody will be left standing. So God is love, and we're all God's children.
I think in St. Lucia, we need to think outside of the box, okay? We as gay people, we're talented, we're intelligent, we're good looking, and we're here to shape the future. No matter what, Cecile, we will be here. So St. Lucia needs to wake up, smell the coffee. It's 2012.
Who is the pastor or the bishop of a church? Or who is the legislator to tell me who I should love? or who I should be married to if that is the case, or who I should be dating. I have that right. I should be given that right to decide if I want John Brown to be my husband, my partner. I should be able to have that right.
I wish the churches would recognize that regardless of what your sexuality is, at the end of the day, you're a human being. And that should be the deciding factor in how one is treated.
It is 2012, and a lot has happened around the world with regards to the LGBT community and other sexual orientations and lifestyles. However, the church still maintains the position that we are to love those individuals. However, the church does not have the embrace of the lifestyle, but of the person. And that is going to remain constant over the years, as long as the Word of God remains constant, and it is always going to be constant.
The question of acceptance of an alternative lifestyle by the religious community is one that doesn't seem would be accepted anytime in the near future. But the lesbian, gay, transsexual, and sex worker community isn't daunted and are pushing for the elimination of stigma and discrimination, which they feel is leveled at them by the religious community. From Castries, St Lucia, I am Glenn Simon, reporting for the Government Information Service and CBMP.
Now from the people on the streets and on our Live Up Facebook page, here are a few more responses as to whether you think people are taking HIV more seriously.
I think in many ways they are, as much as it is that some people are very liberal in how they go about, involving themselves in sexual, reproductive situations. But I think in many ways they are, and they are willing to push for the cause. They realize how much it's really affecting their age group, really.
No, they are not taking it serious.
I think in some cases yes, and in other cases no, because I know of cases where there are people who willingly do not use a condom because they choose not to, when they're very, very aware of the risks.
From young people that I know, I believe that they are taking it seriously. However, they are not going to check to the test, HIV test, but I think they're making sure that they're safe and educate themselves on the matter.
Yes and no. They're taking it seriously, but they don't think it can affect them or it would affect them.
Now a lot more young people are actively involved in campaigns and testings and even counseling centers. You see a lot more young people volunteering. So I think we're not 100% there yet.
Ignorance is not an excuse anymore, because this campaign, the Live Up campaign, is very out there. You turn on your television and you get messages. I think that HIV awareness, attempts at raising HIV awareness in the Caribbean have definitely the levels have definitely gone up. So I don't think ignorance is an excuse, but I think that some people still believe that, they're above it, not realizing that HIV is no respecter of person. So they think, they use silly excuses like, oh, it doesn't feel right with a condom or whatever, not realizing that they're endangering themselves and other persons.
Get onto Facebook and like the Live Up page and let us know what you think. Actually, don't just leave us a message. I'd love to see you, hear you. Leave us a video. That's on Facebook on our Live Up page. Let us know what you think.
Live up, live up, live up. I believe you should always get tested because HIV or AIDS does affect us. My name is Shelly and Fraser Price. Love, protect, respect, live up.
Live up, shout, live up.
Reagan and I are here in front of an extraordinary tree. It's called a baobab. It comes from Africa originally. And this tree, my friends, is over 1,000 years old.
The baobab is huge. It is 81 feet in diameter and it seems to have its own ecosystem. Birds, worms.
Yeah, its own community. And as you know, community is everything. There's so many different types of people, for example, trying to achieve an AIDS-free generation. Live Up has partnered with entertainers and sporting celebrities to get the message out there. Now, we caught up with Nathan Bracken.
Nice guy.
Yes, Australian international cricketer. And he's been across the region talking to young people, his cricket-crazed fans, about the HIV awareness, a part of his Think Wise campaign.
That's an awesome campaign, and Nathan was actually quite high profile during the ICC Cricket World Cup in 2007, and so was the CBMP, spreading HIV messages everywhere, in the media, in the stadia, and that super fantastic Peter Minshall closing ceremony or orchestration where Sir Elton John had his video message, and there were 200 kids wearing red Live Up t-shirts. They formed an HIV ribbon. It was super.
That was amazing. That was brilliant. I loved that World Cup. Anyway, we caught up with Nathan and asked him why he chose this as his cause.
It's about getting everybody aware of what's happening and trying to, I guess, prevent as much as we possibly can. Through the ICC, when I was playing with the Australian team, it sort of came up that we always get offered to do different things, and I was away. I think the first one I actually did was in South Africa, and it was sort of over there, and they said, oh, does anybody want to go out and do a visit with UNICEF? And I sort of thought, well, why not? You don't get to see much. You don't very often get outside your hotel or cricket ground and the local shopping centre where you get some food and things. So I thought, well, why not? A chance to go out and see. Went out to a community out there, which was an isolated community. It had its own radio station, all the facilities there, but it was 70% of the kids had HIV. And I've also been involved with the program with putting stuff forward that gets sort of circulated around with, again, through the ICC and UNICEF and pushing that aspect. And the thing is, I think how it's looked at in parts of the world, I think that is a major thing we need to get over, because if you can sit there, identify and be honest, if you can own up to it as soon as something's there, it can stop it. It can prevent it being moved on, and instead of sitting back and hiding, it should be something where people can feel comfortable and everything. People can live a normal life. Having played professional sport and you travel around the world and you do things on TV and you play on TV and people sit and watch, it's just about getting that recognition across, and it's something we see. If a soccer player in the Premier League in England, football player, I'll be right, football player in the Premier League in England, if they come out and say things like it's all about the anti-bullying, there's the racism stuff and everything, if something happens, it's escalated because it's somebody people watch and it's somebody people look up to, and it's about being a positive role model. Like, the thing is, you sit there and you go into a community and you see kids and they'll come up to you and they'll touch you, you give them a hug. You treat them the same. They're no different to anybody else, and that's the thing. People all of a sudden get isolated because of this or because of that, and they're no different to anybody else. Like, the Live Up thing, I think is good. It's having kids there. It's having people out in the community and having them at the opening and closing ceremonies and putting them in the situation where it's been exposed, it's been seen, and the media's there. The media sees it. I know there was photos taken at the opening ceremony. And then it just rolls from there. That's my absolute message. So to be honest, it's simple. It's a very, very simple message. It's true. And the biggest thing is at the end, respect. Respect yourself, respect others.
What a cool guy. I mean, if everybody just took their time to speak out and use their influence to educate and support and encourage, we could have this thing beaten.
True. But as our next report shows, there are still major hurdles to overcome. We joined Simone Absalom, who looks at the challenges facing young people, especially those living with HIV, in Jamaica.
The developments in science and improvements on the ground have some people thinking that the response to HIV and AIDS has reached a turning point. For the Caribbean, the region with the second highest prevalence rate, there have been significant successes. The reduction of mother-to-child transmission is one of our proudest milestones. But while governments and NGOs are patting themselves on the back, one important group feels left out. It's time to face the facts. If we are shielding the young members of society from key knowledge of the dangers of risky sex and the possible outcomes, we may be causing more harm than good. In 2008, 56% of women between the ages of 15 and 49 reported having sex before they were 18 years old. Many of them got pregnant early, while others were forced into having sex. And regrettably, a large number of those girls who fall within the 10 to 19 age group were also found to have been infected with HIV.
Maybe you need to go into school more often, or maybe the parents need more counseling.
Yes, I do believe it's being ignored by adults because kids nowadays are walking around in skimpy clothing, going into parties, dance, sometimes even in schools.
As we hear every day, well, most days that people are having unprotected sex, they're contracting these viruses because of their sex styles. So I don't think they're adhering to them.
President of the Jamaica Youth Advocacy Network, Javier Nelson, says the exclusion of young people living with HIV and AIDS and those who are battling with their sexuality by policymakers does more harm than good.
Treat them as though it's their behaviors and their identity which, causes them to be at high risk of and vulnerable to HIV transmission, when in fact it is the denial and the repression of these people which, put a number of young people at risk, even young people who are from lower socioeconomic communities.
Corey Chisholm of the United Nations GNP Plus believes the Caribbean society will not successfully turn the tide without implementing services tailored to treat the mental and sexual health of the younger generation, the future leaders.
And they don't know where to turn to. Where are the physicians? What physician in our health system can I go to for that psychosocial support for my mental health issues? And that's why we have where we just commit suicide.
Chisholm echoed the belief shared by other youth leaders that the government should seek to pump more investment in facilities for youth and create more youth-friendly sexual and reproductive healthcare services and safe spaces. Executive Director of Caribbean Vulnerable Communities CVC, a regional NGO, says the academic curriculum is lacking where sex education is concerned.
You must be able to see your parents and ask, Mommy, what is that? Daddy, what is that?
He adds that NGOs, youth groups and other agencies working in the field of health and information must be involved in the planning of a new approach to sex education as a response to HIV and AIDS and other STIs.
So what we see, the young people who test positive, for example, those who are exposed in different ways to sex, that's what we bring to the table.
Regardless of those plans, the infectious issue of discrimination, even if it's disguised as ignorance to the issues affecting the youth, have left many young people, those living with HIV and AIDS, street children, men who have sex with men, lesbians and the undecided, wading in the deep. I'm Simone Absalom for Jamaica News Network and the Caribbean Broadcast Media Partnership on HIV/AIDS.
What are you doing there?
I'm just checking their website and Facebook page. So many cool comments. But the time is gone already.
I know, it's gone so quickly, but don't worry. Log on to Facebook to Live Up, like our page, and add your voice to the discussion. Because frankly, it's about you, and it's about me, and it's about Reagan, and it's about all of us and the kind of world we want to live in 10 or 20 years.
Yeah, of course. And the goal is, of course, to have an AIDS-free generation, getting to zero new infections, zero deaths, and zero discrimination. You know we can do it.
Of course we can.
We just need to live up. Love, protect, respect.
From across the Caribbean.
This is... Wait, what are you saying? I'm saying this is.
Yeah.
Oh.
From across the Caribbean.
This is Live Up the Show.
From across the Caribbean.
This is Live Up the Show.